And then I turned on like channel 2, and they was like, Bizarre shot somebody in a club. It was like, I don't know if somebody have that on tape, like about the weird that was coming out like 5 a.m. morning news. And it was like, damn. And I'm like sitting with my girl, and I'm like, this is some silly shit. And at the time I wasn't mad. I was just doing consulting work for Shady. And I was also, just to add a little bit to that, Proof hired me to do marketing. He wanted me to be head of marketing for his record label because he put out his first album. He put out his he put out his only album, Searching for Jerry Garcia. He put it out, and so I was working with Proof. Like when he passed, I was doing marketing for his record company, Iron Fist. So I'm like, damn, I'm hearing all this shit. I'm like, and then I was just watching these bullshit news stories. And then I started getting, phone calls, texts. Like my phone just started exploding. I was like, what the f? Then it was like, it was crazy. Yeah. And then at the time, Proof and his wife, Sharonda, wasn't, they were separated. She had moved to Florida, and she called me, and she was like, is it true? And I said, Sharonda, I don't know. I'm trying to gather information now. And so the hardest part of that, L, was me like telling Sharonda the reports is true. Because mind you, we don't have, the internet was around, but it really wasn't like how crazy, well, social media wasn't around. So we really had to it took a couple of hours because she had heard word, it was some radio. And at that time, radio was the spreader of news, and you had like MTV.com, and it was crazy, man.
What, like, I know the news reports kind of explained that it was what the situation was, but is there like more to it that people just don't understand, or was it just
I think well, till the day Proof mom, Pepper Holton, she's passed, till the day she died, she had reports, and I had never seen the reports, but it was no gun residue on Proof hands.
So he never had a weapon.
Yeah, well, it was, and that's like some stuff that's still. A matter of fact, one of Sean's, his eldest son, DeShaun Holton Jr. His name is DeShaun Rice. He was named after Proof, but he took his mother's name. He's working on a documentary about it, and he's really into like finding. But it's documents that he didn't have gun residue, and it was like some crazy cover up.
Wow.
It was wild, man.
That's insane.
But I tell you, one of the things, the most happiest point is, and I gotta be a little selfish, I gotta be a little not like favorite. The most happiest time was, even though I wasn't with D12 no more, was when Proof dropping Jerry Garcia. I mean, Searching for Jerry Garcia. That was like,
yeah.
I was working at the label too. I mean, at Proof label, but that was so amazing because, the reason, and this is, you can Google this. It was, I always wanted D12 to be like a Grateful Dead, or like I didn't want him to just, because you bring up a point where we didn't want to just be on M's shoulders. We wanted to, I was like, let's do this D12, and let's do the, and I reached out to like even internet sites, because, the internet was just starting to blossom. I was like, let's go underground. Let's keep it underground. We got MTV, we got BET, but let's keep it underground. And so I always was like, I would always read books about the Grateful Dead, and and that's one of the biggest underground like rock groups, people who don't know.
Right.
And I was like, yo, let's keep it there. And so I would be reading books, and Proof would be reading those books too, and he'd be like, yeah. And that's how we kind of came with the Searching for Jerry Garcia, because we wanted to keep it like kind of underground. We didn't just want to be like, they want to be like no flash in the pan, one hit wonders,
Yeah, you don't want to keep attacking the mainstream when you knew the mainstream wasn't going to fully accept all the sounds that were better off for the group to be making than to try to curate themselves to be mainstream.
Yeah, we believe
you're trying to fit the mold of the mainstream when it's like you don't fit that mold. You did it before, you can do it, but to keep trying to do it, there's a high failure rate versus keeping it underground where you're more accepted in certain demographics, right? which is interesting. So I mean, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You know, I just didn't want it to be, and myself. When I say I'm talking about our management team all the way from, Rico Shelton, Mikey, John Fisher. We didn't want it to be like, we didn't want it to be like we had to depend on if MTV didn't want to with us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. So we didn't want it to be like, oh shit, we ain't gonna tour, because we were like making good money. But
I heard D12 still tours to this day.
Yeah, two of them do. Yeah, Swift and Swift and Vaughn. They still tour. They still got it going, man. They was just on tour with Ice Cube and all of this, and they overseas. Yeah,
Bizarre still dropping tapes.
Bizarre still dropping, and DeShaun, he's one of them. He's one of them producers ninjas where you'll be like, damn, DeShaun did this, but not DeShaun is always, into some stuff. So yeah,
and then DeShaun is taking kind of Proof's,
man,